Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Abosede and this is Abosede Talk. So if you're coming from the last video, thank you for watching, thank you for liking. And yes, so we have to continue the story, right? Okay, so where do I start from? So this story is dated back to 2021. After I got introduced to the online known apps, so now I'm aware of what it does and how it helps people like me, people in need like me. So I deleted the app, like I said, and that was like never to meet again. Bye bye. But then in 2021 around June, I was preparing to go to camp. And at the time, my dad was sick and he couldn't, of course, help, like financially. And my mom also couldn't do much because of the situation. So she tried. I mean, she got me some things, but I still needed things. I needed pocket money. I needed transport fare because I was posted to Anambra. So imagine from Ibadan to Anambra, it's quite a distance. So I started thinking, where do I get money from? How do I go? And I'm not that person that goes to meet people and say, give me money, give me money. I have always loved to work for my money, like earn my money, basically. Even though it was difficult finding jobs and all of that, but I have always been that person. So then they thought of, okay, I can use the loan app. That thought came back. And I'm like, okay, it can work. So I sat down. At the time, I was helping someone to sell perfume oil. So, and when you sell things like that, there are times you pick from it, use for yourself, basically. So, and what I was sure about is anytime she asked me to remit the money, I always do. So I wasn't bothered. So when I was preparing to go to camp, I thought of the fact that let me just remit everything, the remaining perfume oil and our money. Let me remit. I don't, because leaving for camp, I said to myself that I don't want to come back to Ibadan. Like I want to start a new life. And I think this is what everybody, or 99.9% of youths always do that. Like after school, you just want to start a life, like you want to start afresh, basically. So I had that same thought, and I told myself that going to Anambra, I want to start a life. So I'm not coming back to my parents' house. So I needed to sort everything that might make me be thinking about home or something. So now this is where it gets really interesting. My friends were also preparing for camp, so there was little or no help financially that they could render. Although there was one particular friend that still got me some things to go to camp with, but they were still, you would print things, you would buy this, buy that. There are some things that are like that you just have to have, basically. So I was getting them, and then I decided to go on this app. I needed money for different things. I needed money to get some stuff. I needed money for pocket money. I needed money to complete the perfume oil, basically. I can't remember now how much I borrowed from the app, but I borrowed money. And I was already pitying my mom. because she kept asking, going up and down. I just told her, Mama, rest. I will sort it. Okay? Rest. Basically, I was pitying her. So I borrowed this money. Can't remember precisely how much. But I sat down to do the calculation. I had 2 weeks to pay back. After 2 weeks, there's a particular percentage, which I'm also not sure about anymore, that will keep adding up. Like the money will keep increasing with this particular percentage every day or every week. I think it's every day. So I had made calculations that if I have 2 weeks, okay, and we spend 3 weeks in camp, and I will get my first salary, which was 33K. I don't know if it's still 33K at the time. So I had planned that if I pay this particular amount this month, before the next month, before I get my next month's salary, I would, it would be, the increment would have been around this amount. Then I'll be able to pay. I had made those, I've made plans basically, like backup, how everything will come into place. So I wasn't so bothered. I borrowed the money and then I went to camp. I went to camp. My pocket money was fine because I wanted to be independent. That has always been my thing. I don't like relying on people that, oh, this person will give me this, that person will give me that. No. So I went to camp. It was a very awesome experience. I had fun. I enjoyed myself, participated in almost all the activity. Typical boss. Then I I finally got the alawi. We opened a bank account in the camp, and then that was where the alawi was paid. The alawi was paid into the account. So I picked up my phone on this day, like, oh, let me make transfer into this loan app to pay this, to pay part of the money. And mind you, at the time it was already increasing, but I was not surprised because I expected it. Only for me to realize that I cannot transfer from that bank. Like, I still do not have access to transfer in or out of the account. Are you joking now? I was so worried, like, what's going on? I opened a bank. I don't think I should have this kind of difficulty. So I spoke with, I can't remember, but I think I spoke with a couple of people and they said, oh, I would have to go to the bank. I'm in camp. How do I go to bank? So I need to wait, basically. And another shock that I got was, I was in the East. There's this thing that happens every Monday. They call it sit at home, where you stay home. It's something related to Biafra. So we couldn't leave camp when we were supposed to leave because of that sit at home. So we had to spend extra day at the camp. I was already worried. I was so worried. And when the day finally came for us to leave, I had no cash. I had nothing. And I'm going into the world that I know nothing about. God, I beg. So I called a friend. I called a friend that, this is what is happening, And mind you, two people are aware of that app. My younger sister and this particular friend. It was only these two people that were that I got money from the app. So I called her, I told her, and then she sent me, maybe it was 2.5, I can't remember now. But like, this is back in 2021. It's not now that if you bring out 1K, 1K is gone. Then money was still okay to a reasonable extent. So it was the money she sent to me that I was able to use to get out of camp. I left camp with a church. I followed the church. So they took us to the church, took us to our PPA, and then to the family house. And believe me, I'm not the type that will stay in a place where there are millions of people. I can't survive it. I'm going to lose my mind. I'm used to having a space where I can think, where I can process things. I can't always be hearing bah, 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 bah. You know how Family house is not for the weak, trust me. So I couldn't stay there, but I stayed for a while before leaving. So I got an apartment. I think that particular story will come in another video because that one is another story entirely. And mind you, oh, during this time, the money was increasing every day. Every day. Now, finally, at the time I was able to gain access to the money, I couldn't bring myself to using it to pay for loan because at the time there were things to sort. I'm This is a new land. I've never been here before. The language is different. Everything is different. So I needed money for things, contributions in the family house, for food, a lot of things. So I couldn't bring myself to pay a part of the loan. So I kept thinking, oh, the next month, until I got a call. I mean, every single time that I check the app, I'm like always scared, always worried. I will call my sister. My sister, if you had met my sister, she's like very strong. She'll be like, leave them alone. She's gonna call. You still pay. Shall leave it. Don't let it worry you. Don't let it bother you. This my friend too. Same thing. Be like, see, you're not the only one. There are people who are doing this thing. But the thing is, I do not have the mind for it. I do not have that strength for it. I'm not, and because it's something that I don't even like I'm going somewhere. So by the time, I think around September, I mean, I've been getting calls from them, calling, threatening, all of that. And then around September, if I'm not mistaken, I got a call from my neighbor at Ibadan. She called, I think our son, one of our sons, she received a call from the app on behalf of one of our sons. So she was already even hungry. Then I think she received a call also on my behalf. Like, these people called her. And then she called me. She was like, what is wrong with you children of nowadays? Kiniko, Kiniko. She talked. And then I was wondering, did I use her number? You know, when you're in need of something, you don't even know what you're thinking. You just put number, put details, put pictures, anything. So I kept thinking to myself, did I use her number? And it was at that point that it dawned on me that, boss, you really have to do something. These people are ready to do anything. I was panicking. I was depressed, worried. I isolated myself. I I was there. I feel like I was dead. I was a living dead because I couldn't think straight. I couldn't find a job to do. I mean, a copper. So it got to a time that I had to call someone. I was so reluctant to call this lady. You know, there's something the devil does. I was While I was a copper, the coppers of that particular church were very close to the pastor. I could have walked up to this man and tell him that, oh, this is what is happening and I'm worried. I didn't. You know, the devil has a way of closing our mouths. There's power in opening your mouth, like voicing things out. Oh my God. There is, and let me go into the spirit, but really, there is power in opening your mouth to declare something or bound something or cause something to existence, or like there's a way it weakens the power of the enemy over you, whatever you're going through. But I was so ashamed. That was the bondage I found myself. I was so ashamed to talk about it. I feel like people look at me and be like, oh, say you this debtor or something. I was so ashamed. So I couldn't talk about it with anybody except those two people that knows, my sister and my friend. So when it got to this point of they calling people, and at the time I received a message on WhatsApp about this my neighbor's son They wrote something about him, like, oh, this is a fraudster. When you see him, run from him. Like this loan apps. So when I saw it, I was scared. Like, are they really going to send my pictures the same way to people? So it got me really scared, and I had to make that call. I called this lady. She's also my friend. I called her not because I expected her to give me the money, but I just needed to talk. So I called her, I explained the situation, I told her how bad it has gotten to. Because, guys, I will not deceive you. Do you know that it got to a point that I will wake up in the morning, I will dress up, no food, no cash, like not even 100 naira, and I will start trekking with no destination. I will trek from my house and just be walking, like just keep walking. I will just keep walking, no destination until I get tired. That's when I will think and be like, okay, what's happening? And on other days, it's until when I see maybe a red cloth that they used to tie one tree somewhere. That's when I will come back, like, what am I doing to myself? And some other days, it's until when I see some guy somewhere randomly just waving hand to me to come and all of that, then I will be like, I need to go back home. And the worst part of it is, I do not have money on me, so I can't even take transport home, and I will have been so weak. Guys, it's more like the devil just want me to walk to my death, like just keep walking till you fall down and die. It was terrible. I feel like I can't explain or express how that period was for me. Typically a living dead. That was what I was. But you still wouldn't be able to tell, because I don't think people around me then could tell. God forbid. Let me take water. I need water. So I'm back. So as I was saying, I called this lady, I explained the situation to her. She has a way of encouraging, actually. So she told me she was going to speak with some persons. And at the end of the day, when she called me back, she had spoken with someone who had agreed to borrow me about 150k. Now, let's go back a bit. That was in 2021. Imagine 150,000. Oh, wait, I skipped a part. I made the worst decision at some point. You know, after getting their calls threatening me, and then my neighbor calling me, I made a very bad decision out of pressure. I downloaded another loan app. I borrowed money, the highest that I could get. I borrowed it to pay the first app. Hey God. And the worst part of it was that the money I got from that one wasn't even so, like it did not even get anywhere in the other one. But I borrowed and paid it. Now I have two different apps coming after me. So the two apps kept growing. They kept multiplying. And it summed up to about 100 plus. And at that point, I was losing hope. Because where do I want to get 100k? Talk less of the plus on it. I was losing hope. I was losing myself. So she told me this person would give me 150. I think that was like early October 2021. But the person would only be able to give me in November. Yes, in November, when he gets his salary or something like that, in November. So I had to wait. So I kept waiting. I kept receiving calls from those people. I would speak with them, try to be emotional blackmail did not even work. So this man finally sent the money to my friend, and then my friend sent it to me. Guys, ha, my joy knows no bound. I was so happy. It felt like a dream. It felt like a dream. I got the money. I entered these two apps, deposited the money, and I saw the account go to zero. And I deleted it straight up. Trust me, that was the last. I deleted them for real this time, and I never went back to it. But that's like a part closed. There's another part that I need to also return this person's money. Now, the instruction that came with the money was I should pay 5,000 naira every month. So, out of excitement and gratitude and everything, I was like, no, I'll pay 10k every month. That I'll be dropping 13k every month. But the instruction was pay 5k so that it will not, choke too much. And that I should also start in January of the next year, in 2022. So I was so happy, so grateful. I can have my life now. And mind you, let me just put this out there. While I was going through all of these things, when you see me outside, I don't know how I do that. When you see me outside, I am super normal. I'm super normal. I will play this and that. It's when I go back to my domain, when I'm like only with myself, that I always feel like tearing myself apart. And oh my God, it was a struggle. January came, still a copper, and the first month, which was January, I paid 10,000 naira. I paid 10k. Because at the time, I was like, no, I need to quickly clear this debt. Because I had another 80k debt. I skipped that. I had another 80k debt. That this was even a normal woman being that borrowed me for accommodation. So I was paying two debts at the same time. Whew. I was paying two different debts at the same time. So I kept the first month, January, I paid 10k. Guys, nobody told me before I went back to 5k. Because after paying 10k, then there was nothing left to cater for the month before the month ends. I realized I will also now need to borrow. Then I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. I'll pay the 5k and then manage the rest for the month. So that was what I kept doing for the entire year of 2022. I was in debt. I was in debt. I was in debt. I was struggling, trying this, trying that, opting for this, opting for that. Then close to the end of that year, I I thank God for the gift of men. Really, thank God for the gift of men. At the end of 2022, or close to the end of 2022, something happened, and to me, it was like an indication that I needed to leave the East. Like it was with immediate effect. I needed to leave the East. Maybe I will say that in another video. So I left. I left the East. I came to Ibadan with so much pain in my heart, with that period of my life. Like I just felt like just were like the most quiet, terrible, whatever period of my life at the time. But nobody, like, oh God. Anyways, I came back to Ibadan, to my parents' house, but I kept telling myself, I can't stay here. No, it's not possible. Then I I'm so emotional right now because I could really feel it. Oh God. So I got this offer in Lagos. The offer was supposed to last for 2 months, just 2 months. And typically, after 2 months, what happens? And even aside that, is it even worth it to relocate to Lagos because of 2 months offer? First of all, I don't know how much I'll be paid. I don't know nothing. I don't have anybody in Lagos to even stay with. So accommodation needs to come in. But I was so determined that I don't want to stay in Ibadan. I don't want to stay with my parents. I just want to run from anything that will make me feel sad. And honestly, I feel like being in Ibadan is one of it for some reasons. So I made up my mind to leave. I left. I spoke with some people. So I came to Lagos and fell into another debt. You know that if you're aware or if you're calculating with me, paying 5K for a whole year is that's like 60K. So 60 out of 150, I still have about 90K to go. And then I got to Lagos with two of my other friends, so we needed to get a place together. And my share of the accommodation was 190,000 from somebody that has nothing. So luckily for me at the time, one of the friend, the brother was going to make the payment, so we'll pay back. So in my head, a lot was going on. After these 2 months, what will I do? How will I go about it? What will come in for me? What will go out for me? And all of that. But I kept trusting God as as it was. I was actually really trusting God. Then, long story short, because a lot happened in between, but as God will come through for me, if I say I can explain, I will say no. Because almost 200 plus, I completed the payment in July, July or August of last year. Wow! I just completed my debt. I just completed it last year, July or August. So I was working, paying off debts, working, paying off debts, and standing in for whoever at whatever time. I was paying. I closed my ears to other things. I closed my head to a lot of things, cutting some things off, paying debt because I wanted to be done. I knew that devil has played a lot of trick on me, on my life, and he's not going to hide me here. He's not going to put me in this corner. Just because if you know, you know. So I paid it off, and while paying the debt off, I needed money for either renewing apartment or getting my apartment. But how God also came through that I was able, you know, accommodation in Lagos now, that I was able to gather money enough to get me another apartment in that same year. Hey, you're still doubting if God exists. Okay. Thomas, keep doubting because this God, when He says He has arrived, like I have arrived. And you know that place in the Bible that says, though it may tarry, keep on, it will surely come. My own came and it's still coming. Because I don't know how I was able to pay off from a job offer of 2 months to paying off debt of over 200K and also getting an accommodation. God is good. I will not advise my enemy to actually opt for a loan app if you don't have a valid means, like a very confirmed means of paying back. It might be good for salary earners. It might be good for someone that is so certain that a particular amount of money is coming. It might be good that you take it to whatever. But I personally, with my experience, I will not advise anybody to take loan to take money from loan app. It's better that I feel like I don't even know which is better. It's to ask human being that can come to your house and break your house down. I don't know. Basically, I'm not here to advise you, though. I'm just here to share the story. So it's on you, really. But I feel like I won. Oh. I won the enemy. It did not kill me. It did not make me commit suicide. It did not make me walk to death because God was with me. Because I was this close to it, like this close to it. You just hear that. Oh, somebody walked to our death. I'm grateful. Thank you for staying till the end of this video. I hope I was not boring you. Anyways, I really hope. That's my story when it comes to death. Really. Thank you so much. I really appreciate you. Please do not forget to subscribe. Do not forget to turn on the post notification because I have a lot of stories to share. Like God has been good to this girl you guys are looking at. I have a lot of stories to share. And thank you. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.